What's up, people? I'm the Geektron, and this is LolKing's League Trends for the week of December 22nd, 2014, sponsored by the Warlords of Draenor, which is available now online or in stores. Take your place on the front lines, get a free level 90 toon boost to one of your toons, and also have a garrison, which is your own personal fort. And you know who you can get as a follower in your garrison? Leroy Jenkins. Talk about incentive. I mean, it worked for me. Anyway, this week's featured champions include Sejuani, Aurelia, Rek'Sai, Fiddlesticks, Fiora, and Pantheon. Let's dive into Summoner's Rift. Champions on this week's increased pick rates include Rek'Sai, Jarvan 4, Orianna, Graves, and Sejuani. Boars are back in style after some adjustments to the Winter's Wrath. Her jungle clear has been improved, and her permafrost slow has a lower cooldown as it ranks up, but this came at the expense of her burst. RIP AP Sejuani. These changes firmly move her back into the jungle, but she may be usable in the top lane. As a jungler, she has good ganks and team fighting. She's pretty strong in 2v2 and 3v3 fights too because all of her damage is AoE, but she does need to avoid strict duels against fighters like Pantheon or J4. Sejuani's crowd control is impressive and can fit her into most team comps, but she probably shouldn't be picked with passive early lanes like Nasus or Kassadin, since those champions can't defend against invasions. Pure Tank is probably the name of the game, but if you do happen to get fed, the best single damage item is a Liandry's Torment. Her Flail of the Northern Winds continually reapplies the dot, while her other abilities all impair movement and thus ensure double damage. The cold does not forgive. The biggest decreased pick rates this week list Lucian up first. Pantheon, Aurelia, Xin Zhao, and Fiddlesticks follow up. Aurelia's a wee bit less popular, but that's just because of people's recent preferences. Her friend, Morello, has kept his hands off. She's still a solid pick with few weaknesses, and it's a little cliche, but she's easy to learn and hard to master, so she's satisfying for many kinds of players. Most of Aurelia's matchups are neutral and can easily go either way. If she has any bad ones, they're usually in the form of melee bullies like Tryndamere or Darius. She needs multiple points in her He10 style to win auto-attack trades, so she needs to be careful during the first few levels. Against ranged champions, many players choose to max Equilibrium Strike instead of He10 style, and this holds them in place for longer and is a big help if your jungler ganks. Aurelia is a mid-game champion, so if you can't duel or dive your opposing number, look for chances to roam or teleport. Her burst with a Triforce is immense, but as the game goes on, she becomes less of an assassin and more of a tank, so build appropriately after that first item. Hopefully, it'll be a while before we hear cries of GG Nerf Aurelia. Champion to the biggest increase in win rates has Rek'Sai's very first appearance on this show with over 53% win rate, while Evelynn, Kalista, Kassadin, and Kog'Maw round out the list. The latest addition to League of Legends is a blue-purple monster, also a she. Rek'Sai is an AD brawler and considered by most to be a jungler. She uses Fury as a resource to heal herself while using Burrow, and her Fury also amplifies the damage of her Furious Bite, but is not consumed by it. According to her name, the Void Burrower's signature mechanic is her Tunnel ability, which allows her to create two-way portals. The portals have a short range, but can be used to get past walls. The tunnels are also used for her ultimate, Void Rush, which quickly dashes her to an entrance anywhere on the map. Players are still figuring out Rek'Sai, but most seem to like the Warrior enchantment. She scales well with damage items, but is not a melee carry, so you'll eventually need some beefiness. Hybrid items such as Triforce, Hexdrinker, or Frozen Mallet allow her to be both a threat and a tank. Land Shark! Decreased win rates this week include Warwick, unsurprisingly, Pantheon, Sion, Fiddlesticks, and Aatrox. Fiddle got a few minor nerfs in 421, but the primary reason for his fall is simply people learning how to use other junglers. He has an extremely forgiving clear, so players were less likely to make mistakes with their route and waste time in the jungle. Now that his opponents aren't making those mistakes as frequently, Fiddle's win rate looks a little more balanced. It was hardly common, but the change to Darkwind makes support or solo lane Fiddlesticks a bit weaker. Previously, a lucky player could get a lot of free damage without retaliation, but now the ability is less likely to double tap opponents and doesn't refresh the silence either. It's probably best to keep the Harbinger of Doom in the jungle now. As always, rush Azania's Hourglass. Some players even skip a machete entirely to rush it more quickly and start with either a Doran's Blade or an Amplifying Tome. champions on the increased ban rates for this week have Cassidy back at the top of the list, while Rumble, Ezreal, Graves, and Fiora follow up. The Grand Duelist may long for a worthy opponent, but nothing beats the Banhammer. She had her ultimate, Blade Waltz, nerfed some time ago, but players are deciding she's still obnoxious. She may be played as a jungler or in the mid and top lanes. Her lunge ability gives her 2 gap closers, so she's very dangerous to ranged opponents, but at the same time, she can struggle against more durable bruisers. Regardless of matchup, Fiora snowballs hard once ahead, hence the bans. Blade Waltz is what allows Fiora to be a true melee carry. It makes her untargetable and applies on-hit effects, so players should buy on-hit items, such as a Blade of the Ruined King or a Ravenous Hydra for cleave. Her biggest foe is Exhaust, since quick players can apply it before she uses her ultimate. A Quicksilver Sash and Mercutial Scimitar can therefore be very useful. Finally this week, champions with the largest decrease in ban rates has Warwick up again, dropping over 64% from last week. Zed, Fizz, and Gnar have also dropped significantly, putting them at a 4-way tie for saddest ban rate. Pantheon just misses out on the party, coming in last. The Artisan of War isn't quite as much of a must-ban now, since a dragon is no longer soloable early game. He took a hit to his attack speed, so he clears a bit slower and blocks fewer auto attacks with his passive. In practice, he is still the same champion with the same strengths and weaknesses. His early game is dominant, but he needs to get kills, otherwise he'll fall off. He also has limited range and must die with his ultimate to initiate fights. Pantheon is a good pick when you see a squishy gank target with no escape, such as Brand, Jinx, or Sona. He's also strong against weak dueling junglers, such as a Mumu or Nautilus. If you don't have a good plan early game, however, then it may be better to pick a more versatile jungle, such as Jarvan 4 or Vi. If you do get your kills on Panth, then bring the damage with armor penetration. The Warrior Enchantment, a Black Cleaver, or even a Last Whisperer are all big boosts to his damage and allow him to solo carries. The best defensive item if you're ahead is a Guardian Angel, but when you're not a damage threat, it's better to get pure tank items, such as a Randuin's Omen or a Banshee's Veil. And that does it for our final episode here at LolKing for 2014. Thanks everybody so much for watching. This has been the best year of my whole life, and you guys were part of that. So thank you for watching and commenting and sharing and subscribing and all of the great things that you guys do that makes this job so amazing. Mostly though, have a wonderful holiday season, a very safe New Year's Eve. Please come back in one piece, please. And make sure you share this video around with all of your friends, because sharing is caring. I say that a lot. And thank you for sticking out with me for this whole past year and my stupid mistakes like Jarvan 5. Like, who the hell is Jarvan 5, Lindsay? Come on. Come on. Anyway, I'm Lindsay Geektron. You can follow me on Twitch TV at Lindsay Geektron. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in 2015.